If you feel like you've lost your sense of pleasure in life, then you're probably suffering from low dopamine levels. In this episode, I'll show you how to optimize your dopamine cycles in just 3 steps. So dopamine exhaustion, dopamine recovery, and dopamine optimization. So how did I learn about this? Well, it's really simple. I've gone through this myself. And if you hear a little bit about my story, maybe you'll recognize you have too. So let's scroll back 25 years ago, before anyone was really popular on the internet. There wasn't really anything going on with videos on YouTube, and life was simpler and easier and quieter. And we spent more time alone reading books and drinking coffee and hanging out with friends and not getting constant stimulation, so our brains weren't overloaded. All the different algorithms of social media have hacked our brains and our dopamine, because they know we get a little squirt of dopamine neurotransmitter in our brain, a little high peak every time we hear a ping or a ding or a notification or see something, or someone likes something we said, or we see something that's extremely upsetting or high charge or that's otherwise, fascinating, right? So those are the things that give us all these dopamine hits, just bang, 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 bang. And what's happened across the last 25 years is that we've had this radical increase in stimulation of the brain. And our neurology has just gotten frazzled and exhausted. I've experienced it myself, and I had to ask myself, what's going on? So I did a bunch of research, and what I figured out was that I was exhausting my dopamine by being too much in this space where there's this constant mental stimulation. Now, I love to read. As you can see, I've got a lot of books, got a lot more downstairs. I used to sit for hours at a time quietly at night with just a little maybe background music on, reading and enjoying, taking notes and learning. And instead, over the past maybe 7 or 8 years, my learning has switched to video and audio from social media, right? But curated, of course, because I only want to listen to what I'm listening to. But I will tell you, I too have had this, what I would call getting just face punched with dopamine loss. I might just stop and want to say, oh, that's an important reel that I want to, that's about a topic I'm studying and researching for the podcast. I'm going to watch that. But the next thing happens, there's a video with 300 raccoons all running through a house. It's and I get triggered, right? And I'm like, what is that? And then it just keeps serving up because the algorithms know they can get inside our heads and do that. And if you've ever found yourself maybe just picking up your phone for a second, and then someone sends you, oh, you got to see this thing. You go, oh, I don't know, what is it? And you click on it. And half an hour later, you're like, where did my life go? Why am I so tired now? It's because you've been having your dopamine hammered in your brain by the algorithm with all the reels and videos and sounds and triggers and everything else. So first, let me just say this. Dopamine is the neurotransmitter that covers your motivation, your drive, your focus, your learning, your pleasure center, what you find pleasing and enjoyable in life. And it's also your motor control. So there's a lot of side effects that happen when we get dopamine exhaustion. So we lose a sense of pleasure for everyday things. We feel a little more depressed. We feel more exhausted. We're less able to be aware of what's going on in the world because we've overwhelmed our brain and our nervous system. And so what happens is the world begins to feel and look overwhelming when in fact it might not be. So that puts us in a place of being at effect neurologically rather than at cause. It actually drives you to the back of your brain, the primal brain, rather than the cognitive function of your brain now and here and present. So that's one of the things that dopamine exhaustion does. The other piece is that once we know we're exhausted, we say, aha, so how do I recover, right? So we've all had a cold, and you might be lying in bed for a day or 2 days, and you're sick and you've got no energy. That's very similar to dopamine exhaustion. What happens is the body's immune system has to restart and get going again. And in the same way, we need to recover, right, your dopamine levels, and we have to be able to get back to full dopamine power so we can be creating a cause in life, curating what we're watching and what we're paying attention to and all of that, right? So for example, if you want to be able to recover your dopamine levels, you've got to go on a dopamine fast, right? It's like the day after Thanksgiving. You're probably not going to eat very much the day after Thanksgiving if you ate a lot during Thanksgiving. So I'm going to give you a quick 5 things that you can do starting today, right, to begin to recover your dopamine. The first thing is going on a fast. You want to go on a dopamine fast, meaning just take your phone, turn your phone off, which I do during the podcast. And when I'm doing deep work, I turn the phone off completely, turn it over, put it out of reach oftentimes and everything else. So it's just not part of my life right now. I also turn off all the other apps that I'm not using on my computer. Turn everything else off, just have this and this up that I'm using, the thing I'm researching, the thing I'm taking notes on. That's it. Everything else is gone. So you can do that kind of dopamine fast. Be the be the master of what your brain pays attention to. The second thing is exercise. Turns out that exercise, especially in the morning. So if you can get some good cardio or weightlifting exercise in the morning, I'm not giving you medical advice. Please see your medical person before you engage in any of that, right? Because I don't know what your physiology is like, so please take care of yourself. But exercise in the morning is superb for increasing and recovering your dopamine, right? You're filling up the gas tank in the morning by exercising. You're also building BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which is something that helps neuroplasticity and it grows the quality of your brain. So that's also part of the recovery. The second thing is caffeine. Now, I know we all like to have a little good caffeine, right? Whether it's coffee or tea or something else. And our modern society, because we're so overwhelmed, we think this response is to just pound more caffeine and we'll be better. In fact, that's just the opposite. The more caffeine we pound, the more we're pounding our dopamine in our own brain. And that's bad. So again, maybe a little caffeine fasting as well. 1 cup of coffee, 1 cup of tea in the morning, and then no caffeine 8 to 10 hours before you sleep. That's really important. The other thing is we want to make sure that we are being careful to radically reduce refined sugar. I have virtually cut out all refined sugar. I used to put honey in my tea, right? No more. I don't have any kind of sugar. Now, honey's not refined necessarily, but it's a super high charge of sugar. I radically reduce the sugar I have in my body. I don't intake it. I don't have it in the house because I know if I have it, it's like, oh, it's 9 o'clock at night. I'm a little snacky. I think I'll go have something sweet. No more. I don't have it. And if you want to reduce the impact of dopamine exhaustion and recover your dopamine, cut out all that refined sugar. And that's like the sweet baked goods. That's like all the things that you would get at Starbucks pretty much, except for maybe the protein. So you want to really reduce that because people aren't aware of it. If you go to Starbucks or any other store, I'm not pounding on Starbucks, but if you go to any coffee shop and you get a big mocha or a latte double creamy, whatever, and then you add a bunch of sugar and you get a scone or something else, you've just given your dopamine system a face punch. It's really bad. Don't do it. Next is hyper-stimulating media. Look, we all like to be excited. We all like to be interested. This is, wow, look at this thing. Yeah, it is. And what is it doing to your brain? So even though it may be exciting and pleasurable at the moment, and it's good in distraction, and you're like just staring at it, the fact of the matter is it ain't good for you. So radically reduce it. And then when you go back to your phone more or those things or apps or what have you, set a timer, set an alarm if you're going to get on Instagram and watch Reels or TikTok. Set a 5-minute timer. And when it goes off, turn off the app before you turn off the timer, right? Makes sense. Next, you really want to have quiet time. Your brain, when it's taking in all this energy, all this information, all these pings, dings, noise, visual, auditory, kinesthetic, all these things, when it's doing that, you're running the engine on high and it gets hot, right? So it just reduces its efficiency and capacity. So what you want to do is you want quiet time, peaceful time. Don't have audio constantly in the background, listening to, I don't know, whatever it is that turns you on, astrology or politics, whatever. Just give yourself hours a day, 3 or 4 hours a day of zero external stimulation from the technology or the electronic world. It's going to radically improve your ability for your dopamine to recover again. And so what I would say is this. Oh, and last one, action to stop. Give yourself, like I said, that timer, like put a timer on your watch or your phone when you're going to do something where I'm going to take a break. I'm going to take a little break. I'm going to watch Instagram or TikTok or something or YouTube. And then give yourself a timer and make sure you stop. And if you don't stop, go, uh-oh, I realized I'm not stopping. So this is worse addiction to dopamine hammering than I thought. Okay, so we've talked about exhaustion. That was number 1. Number 2, we've talked about the things you can do to recover, to regrow your dopamine. And now we've got to discuss how to optimize it and keep it at the best level so you're highly functional, you're at cause, you're in the front of your brain, and you're able to do the things you want to do in life. So in order to optimize your dopamine, we're going to do a number of things. And you've got the hints in the stuff I've already told you, but let's start with a couple of them. Number 1, get that 8 hours of deep, restful sleep every night. Give your body that capacity to rest, relax, and recover. And part of that is that when you sleep, your brain is actually going through the process of cleaning itself. Most people don't actually understand this, that when you sleep, your brain is cleaning out all the toxins, the excess bad proteins, things like that, and it's helping your dopamine recover at the same time. So if you're not getting that 7.5 to 8.5 hours of sleep on average at a consistent time of day with a consistent quiet and cool room and so forth, where you've maybe done some relaxation before you sleep, your brain is not going to optimize your dopamine. So you really have to get that 8 hours of sleep. The next thing is you want to have a routine and a schedule of waking up in the morning, doing some kind of exercise, maybe some kind of yoga breathing, whatever it is for you to get your day going, physically move your body and get it in a routine. And also see that early morning light. Now, in parts of the world, at times of the year, it's hard to see light at all. Like in Alaska, this isn't going to work for you, but you can get a full spectrum bulb and you can do that. Get morning light in your eyes in the morning, 10, 15 minutes while you're drinking a cup of coffee or your glass of water or whatever. Just get that nice, bright morning light. There's something about it in terms of resetting our rhythms inside, but also resetting our dopamine, that morning light is really powerful for you. Next, begin to architect the way you spend your day, because too many people are just ping-ponging through their day, paying attention to whatever happens. Oh, I got a ding. Oh, I got a buzz. Oh, I got an email. No, you have to take charge of your life and organize it so your productivity is highest and that you're giving the most value to yourself, because your dopamine is highest when you do that. So think of dopamine in your brain like money in your bank account. Don't just run around and start spending your money everywhere all day long. Be careful where you spend your money, your dopamine, because if you're effective with the way you organize and optimize your dopamine, you're going to have much higher productivity and you're going to be happier and you're going to feel better. That's really key. So 3 more things you can do. One is cold exposure. Turns out that cold exposure, very cold, like a cold plunge or going outside in very cold weather, or just taking a cold shower. Again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving you medical advice. Before you do any of those, please seek the advice of your medical physician or whoever. But cold plunge, cold temperature on the body, particularly the face and the chest, increases your dopamine and helps you optimize it and keep it rolling, keep it high. 2 more things. One is engaging in skill creation. So when you learn a new skill, there's something that happens with your brain in the process of learning and focusing on that thing without any external distraction, that deep work tends to increase dopamine. So you want to do deep work on a new issue, creative something or learning something that actually increases your brain's capacity and increases your dopamine and keeps it high. That's what we want. And the last thing is a gratitude practice, whether it's journaling or just writing down before you go to bed 5 things that you're grateful for that day. And they can be the same things as yesterday, but it's taking a moment to just sit with them and feel them in your body and feel the happiness and joy and appreciation and gratitude you have for your life and other people. That actually increases your dopamine as well. So highly encourage you to do those. These practices taken together that I've just given you will help you to get out of exhaustion, recover your dopamine, and optimize your dopamine for your best, happy, most joyful, most empowered life that you can have. So try it out and let me know how it goes for you.